Good morning, Cancer, and welcome to your Tarot Diary for October 8th, 2024. Happy Rocktober. It's beginning to look a lot like Halloween out there. If you're new to this channel, welcome. This is a channel specifically for the zodiac sign of Cancer. I run this channel a little bit differently than a lot of tarot channels in that I'm not really going to be focusing on situationships. Do they love me? Do they not? And career. I mean, we'll talk about it, but mostly what I want to talk about is the internal world of Cancer, as I feel that Cancer is such a fascinating zodiac sign. We are like the ocean, and we run very, very deep. There's a lot always going on under the surface, and so I want to look into that. A little bit of silence while I pull a Celtic cross here. So, speaking of water, speaking of the ocean, speaking of being deep, think about the ocean and all the currents kind of going on in it, this way, that way. Because what I find here at the center is Two of Pentacles. We get it in the reverse. Harmonious change is the upright. So in the reverse, sensing a little bit of turmoil going on underneath in the emotional space. Kind of looking sort of how to navigate tides changing a little bit. Certain things being let go of, new concepts. And what I'm really getting is new viewpoints of looking at the same thing. I think with Cancer, what's been going on for quite a while is there's just been a lot of things that kind of stick. It's like a desire to move forward, but there's always something sort of holding on. But I think what's happening and what I'm getting here with this harmonious change is true ownership of the emotional state and true ownership of the fact that it's not anything outside, it's us and how we look at things. So this Ace of Cups isn't really going anywhere. It's just a cup that's sitting and the water would be still, but underneath there's things changing. And I think what I get below you, we have a Princess of Cups. That would be, in the royalty offering that cup outwardly. Which you've done. I know you've done. And whatever it was you were offering your cup to, there's a certain degree of graduation and finality, a certain degree of freedom from whatever this cup is. The change that is coming for you is freedom, but I kind of wonder if there's just a little bit of sadness going on about moving forward. Like sometimes you want to move forward or you want to move on, but yet, I heard it in a YouTube video yesterday. Sometimes things that are bad for us, we love them. Like if we grew up in a household that was, very, very toxic, it's no secret that when you become an adult, chances are you'll seek out that environment again to create that sort of a dynamic, even though you don't want it. Somewhere in the subconscious you do, and that's what I want to talk about, because I think that's what's happening with Cancer, is the subconscious is kind of like bubbling up, and it's like, oh, I've been doing this again, I've been doing that again. And I don't think us doing this again, that again, is as bad and as, a cavern that it has been in the past where it's seriously derailed. But I think there still is, with the past couple weeks, if you go back and look, there's a lot of swords and there's a lot of trying to get somewhere. But the thing is in the universe, things come to you. The universe is not go get. You can go get, but that's a very miserable way to live. Like, sure, you do take intelligent, practical action when you need to, but it's more about what you attract. In Cancer being the mother of the zodiac, that's feminine energy, and the feminine energy will attract to it. And so, and, the mother of the zodiac, I've got 3 Cancer placements. Cancer is the dominant sign if we did my chart. There's a sense of just loving everything and like not wanting to like say no, not wanting to set a boundary, not wanting to like cut things off, but at a certain point, and not even like cutting things off, but just realizing like, oh, okay, I'm forming an attachment here where maybe it's not the healthiest place for me to have an attachment, and then having to let that go, or realizing like, oh, I did it again. I kind of gave my energy to a situation that like really wasn't the best thing, and now I need to, like separate myself from it. And there can be a little bit of sadness to that, even if the situation made us miserable. And that's what I get crowning you as a 5 of Cups. And that's kind of why I'm talking about this. This is a crowning energy. Those other 3 cups didn't work out. Of course, there's always the 2 just waiting to be drank. But even knowing that those 2, are there to be drank, sometimes there's a sense of, but I don't want it. I wanted it like this, So I'm asking you today, can you take the part you like and leave the rest? And the real thing, the real spiritual growth, because of all the spiritual stuff I see on YouTube, they talk about the energy vampires. They talk about, it's always about the people out there, but like the way I come into spirituality was years and years and years before it blew up and became trendy in the West. It was like, no, it's not them, it's me. And it's my mind and how I look at things and the energy I put into things. Because people are people, they're going to do what they do. It has, it's like if a pigeon, decides to go number 2 and it lands on me, do I want to get angry at the pigeon? Yeah. But that's what the pigeon do. It's not personal. That pigeon just does that. So it's my attitude towards it gonna, make me decide how are we gonna go. Do I want to walk around being angry at a pigeon all day? Or do I just want to accept that, yeah, that happens, it's a thing, but it's kind of impersonal, But especially like with Cancer, triple Cancer placements, there's all this silence going on underneath. So that's a lot to, you want to take care of. So it's just a lot happening. So there's always, what's happening on the surface is never what's actually happening. There's always more to it. And that's what I think, with Cancer, it gets a little bit misunderstood, because I feel like the Cancer sign really sees that and really knows that. So sometimes the actions, we take, it looks absurd to the other people because they're like, why are you making such a big deal out of it? And it's like, because it's not a small deal. You know what I mean? In the Tao Te Ching, the wise stay behind, and therefore they are always ahead. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when the Beatles, got to go in a helicopter. There's that story. I think one of them was like, I got to go first, right? And the other ones could just sort of see like, of course you do. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. We're all going to get in the helicopter. It doesn't really matter who goes first. And that's not to put any of them down. But you see what I'm saying? There's just a certain wisdom. While other people run, you can walk. But to the people running, the walker looks absurd type deal. So with this 5 of Cups, you're being called to draw on your own power, your own intuitive strength here. And this is like the ultimate mother card for me. And this is the ultimate intuitive card. I just think the Queen of Cups is rad. It's the ultimate like intuition, healing. I picture a wound and water being poured over it. I picture, gentle, soft, steady is how things actually get done in the universe. Not violent, cruel, quick. No, it's It's a tide moving in. Plants, I got one growing here, and I swear it grows when I'm not looking. Not looking. I look at it when you're gonna grow. Then I go do something else, turn around, and you grew. I didn't see anything about that, but okay. And it's that invisible force. But that is more true to life than a lot of the things we're putting ourselves as human beings through. So you're being drawn on your magic. And I want you to look at maybe this change or whatever going on, or whatever these 3 cups are, is part of that. Nothing, a perceived setback is not a perceived setback. It's just preparation. Ironing out the wrinkles. And the other thing, drawing on more of a feminine energy, like a masculine energy, there is a point A, a point B, we gotta get it here and here. But it's more with the feminine, because again, the viewpoint is what it is. It's like, well, it's all one thing. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? So I try not to gun these readings towards success outcomes and trying to, conquer and win. I view them more like, and I know people are afraid of them, but like a spider. A spider weaves its own universe, and then it just sits and waits. And then, the universe gives the spider everything that it needs. You know what I mean? But that work is its own work. You see what I'm saying? It's more of an internal type thing, building a beautiful web, building a beautiful, environment for itself to attract what needs to come to it. And while human beings are afraid of spiders, spiders are, really favored by the universe. In the sense that everything is connected. I mean, you can see the whole universe in a web. You know what I'm saying? What you get here then in the attitude is, again, this is a 6 of Wands, but it's in the reverse. So I'm wondering if there's some sort of disappointment you're feeling, or you're feeling like your efforts are going noticed, or you want to be celebrating, but for some reason the celebration isn't like the big hurrah going on outside, but there is a celebration going on. And what that celebration is this, some sort of liberation. Because you go from 5 of Cups to the Queen of Cups, that's quite a jump. So whatever this is, sit through it, breathe into it, don't run from it, see what it has to tell you, see where the wisdom is right here. This is an internal victory, because your environment is strength. And this can be that undercurrent I keep referring to in this reading, that lion. Right, this is those 3 cups. This is the 2. And how do you make those 3 work for the 2? Rather than being run by 3 spilled cups, you've got 2 full ones. And with that, staying behind, everything does work for you, as long as you don't get caught up in the race. And that's the real challenge in life, is not to listen to this thing when it's like, 1, 2, 3, go! Fire ready, aim, then ask questions. Right. No, ask questions, because you seldom need to fire on anything. Good, careful listening to both yourself and what's being said around you can get you a lot further than trying to figure it out. That's not to say there isn't time when you take actions where you need to be aggressive about something. There's wisdom, but the wisdom there is when that is, and intuitively when that is. So hopes and fears, though, is 5 of Pentacles. So this is another reason with that 5 of Cups, 5 of Pentacles. But here's what I want to point out with this, hopes and fears. I think maybe there's a fear of nothing happening, or just things not really panning out, or you're going to have to go away that perhaps you didn't map out for yourself. You're like, I had it in my head it was going to go like this, but now it doesn't look like it. But that doesn't mean that that's what's actually happening. In fact, what I want to talk about, because the number 5 is a number of change. So if you're feeling in a 5 of Cups, and if you're feeling in, Five of Pentacles, remember what you get at the center here is the Lord of harmonious change. So something inside, and it came out reverse. And so what I'm saying is things are changing. You're coming out of Five of Cups. You're coming out of Five of Pentacles. But change, that line in the Matrix at the very end, the architect goes to the Oracle and says, you're playing a dangerous game. And the Oracle says, change always is. Meaning change isn't comfortable. The comfort zone will kill you. So if you're feeling that turmoil, if you're feeling that change, I want you to really stick with this Queen of Cups energy, because that change is for the better. And she knows when it gets rocky. She knows, but again, even when you're in the rapids, the water still flows. Even if it's rocky, the water still flows and makes it to its destination and just rides those out. It doesn't fight, and that which is soft, Tao Te Ching, will always overcome that which is hard. That which is soft always overcomes that which is hard. So if you're going through change, if it feels a little rocky, good. Change is what is needed. And I see for your outcome today, we get a Princess of Pentacles in the reverse. Even in the upright, this card always strikes me because of the body language and the shield. That, yeah, I got a pentacle, yeah, we could do that, but I'm a little bit, do you have good practical means to get us to where we are trying to go before I take a first step? And what I'm seeing here with this is even more of that. Only it's not so critical and logical. It's more like, I'm just hearing, why fight? I'm not fighting. That's what I'm hearing. I'm also hearing I'm not really aspiring. And again, I know that imagery bothers people. It used to bother me, it doesn't anymore, but spider doesn't really fight. It just works on itself, it works on its home, works on its environment, and then things just come to it. And on a soul level, what you get here is the universe, okay? These other cards are like day in, day out, Monday through Friday. This is like months, decades, years, months, decades, years, legacies, lifetimes. And what you have is the universe and the strength card. So even if the rapids are a little bit rocky today, even if today might be a day like I don't feel like doing, anything, or I just don't feel that great, or I'm going to go to work, but I'm not going to actually be there because I got other things on my mind, that type of energy, that's totally fine, because you're becoming more strong and you're working out whatever these fives are and these twos, and you know that, like, inside that it's time for a graduation and a level up of some sort. But think about that real quick, because on land, we go through these things and there's real solid, tangible, like there was conflict and now there's a strong resolution, and it's like this now, and it'll be that way until something comes through and knocks it again. Well, in the ocean, there's conflict going on all the time between the currents, but when it evens itself out, the water is still just water level, isn't it? There's no big skyscraper, there is no big, new flag being flown. It's just still the ocean. It's what's going on underneath. So don't expect big bangs. Your power isn't always in big bangs. It's more in that quietness. And you're not going to mess with the ocean. You're just not, You ever go out to the ocean? I love going to the ocean. But I go out on this jetty and I'm out there, and those rocks, bam, that water hits that. Ooh, you wouldn't want to fall into that, But that's what I'm talking about, that underneath, the conflict underneath, So things are happening even if it doesn't look like it. So I do draw a couple cards just to talk about relationships and career, but I don't really go into it, to be honest. But as far as career goes, we do have the Temperance in reverse. So whatever this spread might be telling you about your work life, what we just talked about, there is a need to balance something out. You're either going too far one way or the other, and I think that's what the Five of Cups, Five of Pentacles is about, and that Two of Pentacles in the reverse. It's like, okay, I can't keep doing this day in, day out. Something needs to shift. So that's what's going on with that. Temperance in the reverse would tell me there is a need to balance it out. Upright, I'd say you're doing it. Reverse would say something has happened that's called attention to, like, oh, got to do this a different way. And that's all conflict is oh, got to do it a different way. The way we're doing it isn't going to work. And I've used this analogy before, but I'll use it again. You know, put on a shirt, but say the collar is like this, right? Then your mom says, like, you know, straighten your collar out. Okay. You're going to be on YouTube. Why don't you tuck your shirt in? It's not, but why don't you tuck your shirt in? Okay. Did you brush your teeth? Yes. Okay, you got to comb your hair. I would if I had some. Here's the thing, though. You're still going to the party. It's just on the way to the party, there are certain things that need to be done so that when you get to the party, you can be your best self. Relationships, I see a Four of Cups. So again, you know, I'm sensing, I hear the word processing. It could be, if you are going happily, then this is just your cup running over. Otherwise, I'm saying this is you exploring your emotional self, your romantic self, right? Because Four of Cups in the Rider-Waite, the guy is like ignoring everything because he's like, yeah, but the three didn't do whatever, so whatever. This is more like, no, this is like blended pleasure. So I think you're just feeling your energy today as far as that goes. And I would say do that. And you notice the Four of Cups isn't an action card either. It's just sit back and receive. It's very receptive. Overall, what I get for this whole reading is the Hermit card. This is great. This is exactly what we've been talking about, kind of going into the self to find the light. You know, Emerald Tablets of Thoth, I went into the darkness and it was there that I find the high beings of light. So it's like going into the Five of Cups, Five of Pentacles, you know, Two of Pentacles. You're talking about going in to find the thorn so that you can bring it back out into the world and, you know, conduct ourselves in a different way. And the thing about the Hermit is he's quietly shining its light. You know, the Tao Te Ching, they talk about, you know, the wise don't go around trying to teach everybody. They just live it. And through living it, you get a serious lesson. You know what I'm saying? You don't get it, but like, have you ever seen someone just move and you learn a lot through their movements, but they don't actually tell you much of anything about how they're doing it? Right, that's kind of what I'm saying. The Hermit will shine its light because that's what the Hermit is. But the Hermit isn't like, hey, look at me, I'm shining a light. You know what I mean? Actually, the Hermit's the one in the dark. It's just the light that you see. So again, just in the being. So as long as you continue to do the work, you'll just be a walking embodiment of this for everybody else to see. You know, goals are just a quick touchdown, 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 touchdown. But life isn't just touchdowns, a series of touchdowns. There's all these other things going on. And sometimes the plays don't work, sometimes they do. That's the reality. And to take that in stride is what I'm kind of talking about with this. That's what I'm kind of talking about. She knows that. So that's why she's never really upset. You know, if it's fourth down and it didn't work and now we got a punt. It's like, right, there's just things ebb and flow. And it's the sooner you can understand that, the more peaceful everything becomes. So that's what I have for you today on October 8th, 2024, Cancer. Thank you for joining me. If you like this reading, like, click, and subscribe. Feel free to share it. And let me know how you're doing in the comments if you want to. You don't have to. You don't have to do any of that. I always said I'd never be a tarot reader that says things like that. Or a YouTuber. But I find when I do these, I'm saying that. So, whatever. Anyway, I'll talk to you later, Cancer. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day.